my daughter, who's 17,
Boris.
Which one existed?
Jesus. Are you
Well,
going to say something different?
Stop.
Do you not right there?
No. How do you know?
No. Did he exist? It's now the question.
No, not Piggy. Everybody knows my Piggy.
I didn't say nothing. Yo, Kid P, that's a fire hat, bro. I wish I was a Trump fan so I could rock it. I love people that were called by them that were Israelites, and they have a belief system. Now, does that take away that there were other people around them that also worship their own gods? Yeah, they worship their own gods. You know, there's some similar in culture.
Gaussian curve or an A for that matter, either side. If you got a C, you're right there at the center of the bell curve and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to try to construct something like that. So what I'm going to do is this app that you're seeing there. I'm sorry it's so small. This is probably, Miss Nancy. Miss Nancy, it's always good to see it. Her perspective, I always feel so, I'm elevated a little more. I'm like, oh, this is cool, because it's like, in many ways, like, the answer of yes and no, infers that, maybe she is trying to kind of come down to sort of a very human level perception.
That is the full extension of unconditional love. So I would be that example and lead as the devil's advocate and say, hey, this is not the devil. This is everything that somebody's blaming evil.
Okay, gentlemen, Lucifer, Mike, this concludes the FBI Arrest Diego Jew Hate Terrorism Clubhouse room. I encourage you to create your own room and title it however you want, and then recommunicate in a new room that you guys create. God bless. This is the House of Diego. Okay, this is Diego's school for low IQ high school dropouts. This is Diego. Oh, goddess.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you? So do you want to teach us anything about yoga?
I'm at an Italian restaurant with my dad here in Mexico.
Oh, well then take a picture of what you're eating and PTR it.
Okay, I will. Food hasn't come out yet. Yeah, we're waiting. I'll try to see when you get it. What time is it where you're at?
12:20.
Okay. Yeah, we got breakfast time still here. It's 10:24, so we're having a slightly late breakfast. Just kind of brunch-ish. Should be coming through. Everybody knows my dad in this neighborhood. He's very famous in his neighborhood.
It's nice to be known in the neighborhood.
Okay, bye.
Hey, I totally get why you had to shut the room down. I didn't really want to be in this room having that conversation anyway, but thanks for letting it go on as long as it did.
Yeah, I feel like if somebody could break up like a conversation, sometimes, after it's over, you're like, oof, thank God that shit's over.
Well, there's something that he understands that I understand that I don't think most people understand, and I don't know what it is. It's really hard to put my finger on it. It's the way an ADHD mind works. Honestly, it sounds ridiculous. It's really hard to explain to somebody who doesn't get it. But it's funny because ADHD people understand it fully, every single one of them. It's like this idea to hold a lot of information, to consider things from a higher level at all times. It's like you're always higher up on concepts than deeper in the weeds. You don't get deep in the weeds because there's a lot of comparison, contrasting. There's a lot of patterns recognizing patterns of reality and awarenesses and issues that aren't. You almost can't settle in enough to write a paper and convince a bunch of people to believe one thing. It's not like that. It's like understanding trends based on.
Hey, shut the fuck up and receive Daddy's dick. Thank you.
I don't even know how to explain it, but anyway, it just suffice to say his brain operates similar to mine, and I think it's interesting.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I would prefer that we all just read books to each other as opposed to just talking about the situation or how we analyze the situation, because real new information, like from 1675 or 1775, like regurgitating older information from hundreds of years ago is a really interesting hack, because this current situation is, you could say it's linear, or you could say that it's progressive. But the problem is, we are living in a really bad communication paradigm where the addiction to communication, as opposed to an addiction to high value information, but just the addiction to communication versus high value information, and the opportunity cost of what we do on this app is to our detriment 99.9% of the time. So trying to reverse engineer a better outcome through new information and communication is how I want to use this app, versus allowing people like Diego to sit in his house in San Diego with his Apple earbuds in while he just brings up interesting Jewish hate all for 50 hours a week, gaslighting me and other people into hating this experience because no real high value information is being exchanged. Just racism, propaganda, lies, misinformation, low IQ stupidity. And so, until people read a book to me on this app, I'll never be convinced that they're anything special. Like Lucifer. He can go on and on and on about the self and how we're all God in drag and we're all divine. Well, that's great. And that's fine. And I agree with that. But nonetheless, tell me 10 times and then I'll want to hear something new eventually. So that's why I have built up a large collection of books.
I understand that, but can you recognize that Lucifer appears to be have good intentions and be a morally upstanding person with positive affirming energy compared to on some mission of self-importance that doesn't benefit others around him?
I don't know who he is. I don't know what his record is. I don't know him personally. He goes by the name Lucifer.
I don't mean that. Based on the things he says, can you evaluate basically here's what I'm asking. Can you evaluate who is more important to read to than others, using your analogy? Or can you just read randomly to everybody and expect something to happen? Can you then identify the people that are receiving when you read versus those that don't?
I've read with Lucifer, and we've read some great things, but my point is, until he gets a book and comes on here and reads to me something good, I'm going to be critical of him. I don't know his LinkedIn. I don't know his resume. I don't know if he's been to jail. I don't know if he has 3 people tied up in his basement. You think I'm going to give anybody any credibility on an anonymous app, especially when you go by the name Lucifer? I'm weary.
I don't know. Are
you able to judge other people's character based on just
Yes.
Yeah, some people are and some people aren't. Some people think they are and they're horrible at it. Some people really can and are decent at it. And some people give other people the benefit of the doubt long enough to try to make some judgments about their character. They don't treat every single person like the exact same thing as the next thing. Like, step in front of me, next. I'm teaching, I'm educating, next. Like, it's exhausting, dude. Like, okay, something as basic as politics. Just use an example. I don't want to go too deep into this because I don't want people to go off the rails with this fucking example. But to look at Kamala Harris and look at Donald Trump and say, do either one of these people have more or less character and integrity than the other? Do we have examples? Something as simple as that. How can that argument swing both ways accurately? It can't. There is evidence to some truth in that question. It's not just about opinions. It's not just about including the next person.
It's not just about opinions, but there's still an opinion and a bias in the question.
There can be an opinion, but it has to be backed by circumstantial evidence. It can't just be something you read. It has circumstantial evidence.
I know, but I'm not reading about politics. I'm reading about God. I'm just reading philosophy, my friend.
I get that. What I'm saying, I'm using politics because we can all relate. I'm just saying, where is the circumstantial evidence that you, sir, I'm using it pejoratively, where's the circumstantial evidence that you, sir, know that COVID is worse than the jab? Why? None of us are capable of it anymore. We just have our fucking opinions and we look for information on the internet that backs up our bias.
I mean, cognitive bias and bias confirmation and asking questions with bias, again, is not a book, sir. When you read a book to me, I'll agree with your opinion.
Listen, sir, there are multiple ways to gather correct information. A book is one way, for sure. From the great books, not the wrong books. I can go read Beverly D'Angelo's White Fragility, and it doesn't mean it's all right. It's all accurate, right? So books are not always the answer. Who wrote the book? When was it written? What is it? What's its significance in history? How important is it? Now, I admit that you read older, important books. You read philosophy, things that have value. I get it. But the question is, listening to a doctor talk about what COVID means is of value. You write off doctors the same as you write off your next door fucking Trump voting neighbor. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh my God, this guy sounds like a putz.
I don't give a fuck what you think I sound like. I know I'm right about what I'm saying, so go fuck yourself.
You can't know you're right.
Okay, I think I'm...
9 out of 10 doctors.
Okay, so I just want to do a little breathing exercise with Goddess here, Mike. I didn't want to let that guy gaslight you. I want you to try
Why
to.
don't you address what I'm saying instead of saying who I am, you stupid fucking asshole?
Okay, so I'm gonna turn the chat off.
By the way, that's another cognitive fucking disconnect. Is you hear something you don't agree with, and so you assign the person saying it as an idiot or a bad person instead of actually arguing the fucking merits of the fucking argument, you moron.
Okay.
Okay, here's my food. I PDR'd it here. I'm eating.
Like you're caught up in the fucking approach and the actual, like the approach and the voice and the volume and the speed and the way it sounds. You're gonna sit there and prejudge the fucking messenger instead of listening to the message. Fuck you.
So what is that, fish, Goddess?
By the way, when you prejudge messengers, you miss some facts coming from people that you don't like the way they fucking sound. That's stupid.
So, Goddess is eating, so she just took a dip. But, Mike, my intention in this room in the house of Diego's school for low IQ high school dropouts, is not to gaslight and really it's to meditate. I'm here to meditate. So I would encourage you and everyone in the room to take the deepest breath of the day through your nose. Hold it for 10 seconds and really do it. Hold it for 10. Let it go and say, I am a flower. and visualize a giant red flower outside your house, growing and growing and growing, and it smells beautiful, and it looks beautiful.
So, John, can I tell you something I read yesterday that was interesting in science?
Yeah,
something
go for
of
it.
science knowledge.
Go for it.
Mycelium, they're increasingly finding, is essentially has a brain. It's a brain that is, it's not one unit like our brain is a bag of meat that everything comes from the same place. It's actually a brain where the mycelium, as it connects to one another, creates a branches of like nerves essentially. So they act. The mycelium branches act as nerves of a greater brain. It's almost the same way an octopus has quote unquote brains in each arm instead of one brain in its head. Same concept. So to test it, they took mycelium spores and they put them in shapes. So they dropped like 6 of them in a circle. And they immediately started connecting together. And as soon as they connected together, they started growing outward, but they never grew inward the opposite direction into the circle. They never grew in the circle, even from the beginning. They grew outward from the very beginning. When they did the same thing in an X shape of spores, the spores connected together into an X, and then they never grew in toward the center of the X. They always branched outward. And in the circle especially is the easiest one to understand. Essentially what they're saying is this. Once they connect to one another, they're then communicating about what's in the middle of the group together. And they're deciding that there is no incentive to grow inward because there's nothing in the middle of importance. The only way they're going to expand is to grow outward from all directions amongst themselves individually in opposite directions from one another, but in a group, in a directions that cumulatively grow outward instead of inward together. So essentially they're making decisions and they probably have a consciousness, and that scientists are now starting to understand how absolutely complex they are.
Okay, though that is fascinating. How do you think that compares, contrasts, or is a metaphor for we the people, or the people in this room right now? How can we all work together to essentially grow?
Right, that's exactly where it goes with it. So individualism on human beings, we're not here for individual experiences. We're here for the cumulative experience that each of us can contribute to. Without one another, we are nothing. We live and die worthless to the world unless we can somehow combine with each other to form principles and ideas and values that basically amount to where 1 + 1 = 3 instead of 2. Eventually, when you come onto the right combination of thoughts and they're mutually shared and they're mutually beneficial, instead of just having your own opinions where 1 and 1 are 2, that 1 and 1 becomes 3, where the 2 cumulatively become something greater than the sum of their own parts. That can only happen.
3, 6, 9.
Exactly. Well, so when is 3 and 3 9, and when is it 10? That's what I'm saying. It's about finding where the overlap is, and then getting rid of the part that's not as important, but having the humility amongst a group to identify what we firmly believe that may or may not be right, and what we firmly believe that could be right and is mutually beneficial to the group. And if we're unwilling to do that, the more individualistic we become, the more in danger we are of being successful as a group. Period. You'll have outliers that will be hugely successful, and most people will suffer.
Well, there's a smart way to go about a great many, number of things. Unfortunately, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. There is an alchemical formula of success, which is responsibility, personal responsibility for your actions, for what you say, for what you think, what your outcomes are. I mean, it's all integrative knowledge. And again, until somebody reads a book to me from some doctor or a professor or somebody with some type of special designation, I think most people's opinions on this app suck.
I agree with you, but then you hear that it's the fallacy of the what is it? The fallacy of what is it? What is the fallacy? What's the one fallacy that is when you believe in experts. What is that one? You know what I'm talking about? I can't remember what the freaking
Fallacy of composition.
No. The fallacy of believing somebody because they are quote unquote expert.
It's like a credit. It's a credibility fallacy.
Authority. Appeal to authority. That's the fallacy. So this idea that appeal to authority is now the principle that it's principally always a fallacy has led us, and it's part of that individualism problem I just said. This idea that appealing to authority means that I as an individual could be wrong, and that I have to assume that somebody else may be more right than me because they have some kind of credential. And it's become such a negative thing, especially in the American environment, that now we don't believe what a surgeon says. We don't believe what a rabbi says. I mean, maybe we do, but no, not really. We don't believe what experts tell us. If somebody dedicates 4 decades of their life to some kind of practice, and then we're having a conversation with them and we disagree with what they're saying, instead of questioning why we disagree with somebody that clearly knows more than us, we just settle on, that's an appeal to authority, and we can't do that.
I know, but the problem is the problem is the bias or the designs of the individuals who claim to be the authorities, like Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci.
I know, but if you think that they all have that, to the extent that you're not willing to take them at face value long enough to listen to what they have to say and put it up against what you know you don't know, it's the same as this. It's like when I shoot a photo after 40 years of being a photographer, and I understand light really well, and I'm judging things like color of light and quality of light, CRI value, things that you don't know. And then we're talking about why or not flash is important, and you're telling me it's not because you like natural light. And I can't even have a conversation about CRI values with you because you don't know what you don't know enough to get to step B, so that I can even introduce the concept of step F. It's like a flat earther talking to an astronaut.
Okay, hold on.
And the flat earther's asking the astronaut why a gyro doesn't work on an airplane going fast enough. And the astronaut's like, the question is so irrelevant because you don't understand A and B anyway.
Mike, how about you just take another 60 seconds, and then I want you to give me 60 seconds. Go ahead.
This is a concept I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I think it's important. We don't know what we don't know. When we encounter people who know things we don't know, we have to be able to recognize that person is speaking from a perspective that includes things we don't know. So if we argue based on what we know to somebody who knows something that we don't know, who knows something we don't know, we're not likely to ever learn it. We're shutting ourselves down to the potential of learning it, because to master anything is so much more exponentially complicated than me just saying, listen, there's 3 pieces to it. These are all you need. But you may only be aware of 1 or 2 of them, and you're waiting to hear the third, but the third piece doesn't get you to the solution. The third piece is only part A of 16 different parts. And we're not even willing to to have the humility to listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about a particular subject.
Okay, you just hit your 60 seconds. Can I go for 60 seconds?
Yes.
Okay, I'm on a website. The link is above. I'm going to read to you a brief segment of this article that appears on the website above. It says, just a short list of 12 of these actions should surely inform any Americans doubting that the Democrats are the very epitome of tyranny and anti-human behavior. Number 1. Shutting down much of the U.S. oil industry in 2021, thereby deliberately starting and then fueling the now accelerating collapse of the U.S. economy. Number 2, opening the U.S.-Mexican border for more than 14 million illegal aliens, including nearly 1 million convicted criminals, murderers, rapists, certified crazies, gang members, pedophiles, who were released from prisons and asylums in Latin America and made it to the United States with the help of Mayorkas, DHS, Israel's migration NGOs, and some of America's most famous NGOs, sending covert operatives to burn down scores of food processing facilities across the United States. They've also used the federal bureaucracy to begin the destruction of American agricultural production by blaming farmers and their animals for climate change, the existence of which they have yet to prove and never will. 4, it goes on and on. There's 12 of them. I think you're not well informed. I would encourage you to read this guy's website. He's a former CIA employee. He was on the bin Laden desk. He was tasked with killing bin Laden. His name is Michael Scheuer. He's published many books. He is a professor. He has his doctorate. And he is a patriotic American. And, I read this guy's stuff. To me, it seems like a very thorough and detailed analysis from someone with a very high IQ. Read it and tell me what you disagree with. But until you read this guy's stuff, I cannot agree with you politically. And, I study philosophy because I believe, like you said, the ethics and morals of our leaders, is very important. And I don't see what you see in Donald Trump. I don't see a saint, but if we're holding our politicians to the standards of sainthood, for Christ's sake, a lot of these saints should be immolated and burned at the cross.
Bitcoin just passed 77.
So what? The point is, read this guy's article above. I hope you like it.
Is El Salvador the richest country in the whole world?
Oh man, that guy has Have you seen what his country looks like? I mean, it looks like a Nazi state. Have you seen the outfits that his commandants wear? It's fucking crazy. It does look like a Nazi state.
Really?
Oh,
well, he's
they wear Darth
Palestinian.
Vader. They wear Darth Vader outfits. The military commanders, they wear black long robes. They're literally the most badass looking soldiers you've ever seen. And honestly, they did what they had to do. But the amount of people that they put in jail who are in whatever the name of that is, it MS-13? I can't remember the name of the gang. But those is it 13? Yeah, the photos of like 200,000 people chained up, butt to butt in a prison facility.
What is it called? Salvatrucha? Something like.
Yeah. I cannot believe they even achieved. It's a miracle that they even achieved what they achieved in that country, let alone stabilizing their economy by investing and going full in on Bitcoin. Holy fuck! Like that guy.
Yeah, but you know what? I read a whole article about them yesterday. Do you know what they were able to do that we would never be able to do in America? Is they were able to completely ignore the human rights of all of those criminals.
Right. They just arrest them.
And they will sit.
Yeah, if you had a tattoo, you got rounded up and arrested, and then
getting out with no appeals and nothing.
Right. It's intense. It's crazy.
Able to basically just take all of it up with absolutely controversy.
Their logo looks like the IDF, like almost. It has like an olive branch. It looks like with like a knife.
But think about that, John. Think about that. They were able.
Think about that. Think about that.
They were able, from a higher perspective, to really draw all lines of what's good and bad for the people, make it difficult, that fool people is a thing, and act on it without having to convince the data and ask for permission. He just did it.
In the Matrix.
He gathered them up.
Mike, no one can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me at all now?
Yes.
Okay. What's interesting about what he did that could never be done in our country or in most countries is that he was able to define the enemy within. And then he was able to act on the enemy within.
Okay, so this is Diego's school for low IQ high school dropouts. That means, the moderator's technically the professor trying to help educate, inform, persuade, and help these young people that didn't get the education their government promised them.
Don't you think the clarity of what happened in El Salvador is just unbelievable?
It's just like Diego's homeschool.
Yep, this is like Diego's homeschool. Yep.
For your Nazi children.
Yep, that's right. They listen to Wagner and they study German physics.
Did you read about El Salvador?
Physics, but so they're not even the richest. They're not even top 10.
Did you read about the transformation in El Salvador, John?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen the photos of the prisons.
Okay, so because he had absolute control, he was able to do something more extreme than probably I've ever seen in my whole life in any country.
So what are you saying? You think that Trump is going to use the military here to do the same thing here?
No, that's not.
No, Trump is not going to do anything.
That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that they got lucky. They had the right guy. Morally speaking, they had the right guy with the right amount of power who wasn't a piece of shit to do the right thing for the benefit of their people, and he had the full power to do it. He was basically it's a best case scenario. It could have been awful if he was a bad person. If he decided to attack the police force instead of the MS-13 guys, it could have been the opposite result. But he was able to define the enemy of the people on behalf of the people without the people having to agree to what he did about it. He did it for them without their involvement. So I'm not even comparing it to Trump. What I'm saying is, if Trump, I mean, the closest American get is to that example is what Trump will be if he has the entire Congress and obviously the Supreme Court at his will. If he had full like a major majority in Congress, that would be the best example. He could do whatever he wanted, basically. But they didn't even have to follow the political process. He just didn't. And in order to do that, he had to disregard the human rights of all the people that he imprisoned.
It's pretty interesting.
But who cares? Because they were shithead people. And a few of them probably got caught up in it who were good people. There are good. The article even talked about how a few people have been caught up in it that aren't necessarily guilty. And what a tragedy that is. But our rights, our Constitution will never let us to correct our problems as easily as that.
Okay, Mike, I'll give you another 60 seconds. Anything else you want to say in Diego's school for low IQ high school dropouts?
So Nora was asking, why are you drinking at 10 a.m.? Why is that, Diego?
I'm celebrating my victory over Diego. It's true. I mean, I have transformed myself into Diego in order to defeat Diego.
I swear, just point you up.
Rick, do you want to come up here and say anything?
Movies, though.
Oh, we're going to talk about movies. This show's not over. I mean, I just want Mike to be able to exhaust himself first before... Yeah,
He's on the phone.
I know. Okay, so the whole point of this show is to try to educate low IQ high school dropouts who didn't get the educations that their government, through the Department of Education, promised them. And instead, to fulfill the void in their souls and their hearts, they create Jewish derangement syndrome topics, 50 hours a week, ignore their family members to the detriment of themselves, their families, their societies. So it is my attempt to help rectify these low IQ praxeologists who drive piece of shit cars. And I'm so happy to help the dandruff sufferers, the fat people who need to go to the gym, the low IQ people that need to read a book. This was my destiny. This is the house of Diego.
What was the car he was driving?
It was
Jalopy?
it was a jalopy, piece of shit, old
How do you
junky
write
piece
that?
of shit.
Jalopy. I never heard about the
It's
jalopy.
called a jalopy. It's slang for it's slang for shitty car. Jalopy.
Oh, okay, slang.
Joy, Joy, look.
You go a go-go?
You go, Diego.
You go. What's the type of car? Did it like fall apart when you drove out the lot?
Was
Yeah.
his wife blonde?
Yeah. Hold on, we're gonna listen to Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. Oh, he's on Clown House creating another Jewish hate room.
Well, she sneaks around the world from Virginia to Carolina. She's a sticky finger filcher from Berlin down to Belize. Take you for a ride on a slow boat in China. Tell me where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego.
steel that's sold in South Korea? Making money cooks right on the from the Red Sea to Greenland. They'll be singing the blues.
Hold on, you're interrupting.
Let's go. Let's play.
You're
Let's play the
interrupting.
game.
I'm sitting here dancing on live stream while Brincesia watches me.
Man.
You don't understand. I'm
Let's play the
psy.
game.
Danny, I'm psyoping them.
I want to win.
Danny, I'm
I
psy.
want to win the game. You cannot psyop a psyop. You can't psyop an actual psyop.
Did you hear that? Chicago to Czechoslovakia?
Carmen Sandiego.
That's what a
Oh, sorry, Danny. Are you not getting your dopamine feedback loop? Go ahead, Danny. Let me give you a fresh 60 seconds. Go ahead, Danny. Tell us how miserable your husband makes you. Oh, Danny, don't forget, we're going to roast you next. You're coming right up.
Where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego.
Danny is one of those stupid people that occasionally says funny stuff because it's so stupid, but she's unfortunately one of Diego's high school dropouts. Oh, Danny, we're just teasing you. You're an awesome person. I'm kidding. Okay, Mike Moon, don't leave yet because I'm going to help re-educate your brain. Stinny, come on up if you want. Stinny is a longtime fan, longtime listener. She hates me. She loves me. I don't know what to make of her, but she's always coming around. Stinny, come on up here and say something, you beautiful woman. No? Cat's got Stinny's tongue all the time. So, Mike Moon, I know you don't read books anymore. You just like to pontificate and opinionate on Clown House all the time and drop truth and fact bombs out of your fact book. But I also have a fact book called Philosophy. Are you aware of the meditations of Marcus Aurelius?
Yes, I've read.
Okay. Well, then what we want to do is try to hypnotize you to integrate some of Marcus's meditations into your being because you are so hyper reactive. I swear to God, when you get worked up, there's no turning you down because A, you're not even aware of it, or B, you like it, or C, you don't know how to reverse it. So I'm going to give you the wisdom on how to rediscover your true self, like Lucifer was talking about. This is called chapter 55 of Marcus Aurelius. So take the deepest breath of the day. Do not look around thee to discover other men's ruling principles, but look straight to this, to what nature leads thee, both the universal nature, through the things which happen to thee, and thy own nature, through the acts which must be done by thee. But every being ought to do that which is according to its constitution, and all other things have been constituted for the sake of rational beings, just as among irrational things the inferior for the sake of the superior, but the rational for the sake of one another. The prime principle, then, in man's constitution is the social, and the second is not to yield to the persuasions of the body, for it is the peculiar office of the rational and intelligent motion to circumscribe itself, and never to be overpowered, either by the motion of the senses or of the appetites, for both are animal. But the intelligent motion claims superiority, and does not permit itself to be overpowered by the others, and with good reason, for it is formed by nature to use all of them. The third thing in the rational constitution is freedom from error and from deception. Let then the ruling principle holding fast to these things go straight on, and it has what is its own. Consider thyself to be dead, and to have completed thy life up to the present time, and live according to nature the remainder which is allowed thee. Love that only which happens to thee and is spun with the thread of thy destiny, for what is more suitable? In everything which happens keep before thy eyes those to whom the same things happened, and how they were vexed, and treated them as strange things, and found fault with them, and now where are they? Nowhere. Why then dost thou too choose to act in the same way? And why dost thou not leave these agitations, which are foreign to nature, to those who cause them, and those who are moved by them? And why art thou not altogether intent upon the right way of making use of the things which happen to thee? For then thou wilt use them well, and they will be a material for thee to work on. Only attend to thyself, and resolve to be a good man in every act which thou doest, and remember, look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig. The body ought to be compact, and to show no irregularity either in motion or attitude, for what the mind shows in the face by maintaining in it the expression of intelligence and propriety, that ought to be required also in the whole body. But all of these things should be observed without affectation. The art of life is more like the wrestler's art than the dancer's in respect of this, that it should stand ready and firm to meet onsets which are sudden and unexpected. Constantly observe who those are whose approbation thou wishest to have, and what ruling principles they possess. For then thou wilt neither blame those who offend involuntarily, nor wilt thou want their approbation, if thou lookest to the sources of their opinions and appetites. So you can see just how stupid you are and how stupid I am, because I don't have that memorized. It's not fully integrated into my knowledge, but that's 2 pages of a pretty big book of very complicated psychological treatises. And we spend our time on here talking politics and arguing with gaslighters. That is the opportunity cost of this app. And I think your opinion formulations, though you may think they're accurate, I don't think they're accurate, but I'm not going to get angry over your inaccuracy, or you're not going to get angry over my inaccuracy. To do that is a waste of our time. It's an emotional giving for uselessness. This app sucks, dude. It's total brainwash psyop bullshit. That's why you can break the curse of this app by reading high-value information. It's called books, aka spirits. The book is a boo, which is a spirit hard drive of someone who has lived a full life and put it into a book for us to eat it. I'm sick of listening to this shit of these stupid people. We have to start eating and shitting and listening to good stuff, good content. I've got the books. I've got the voice. I've got the brain. I can even comprehend what I'm reading. You know, that is the beauty of this app. We can share these things with each other. We don't have to be vulgar. We don't have to be low IQ. We have books. It's very simple. We're just not using this app correctly. It's us who are the primary hardware of this app. The app is nothing more than free telephone. This is a free conference call called Zoom, called Skype, called AOL Instant Messenger. And look how we use it. We use it to propagandize and to manipulate and to harass and use green bean authoritarianship to dominate conversations. It's stupid. And it's low IQ. It's not intellectual. It's not academic. This is a toxic gaslighting app so people can fill their own vacuum with other people's emotional titillation by your gaslighting. I do it. Other people do it. At least I can admit it or accurately assess the situation. And the big term is diagnostic tools. What are the diagnostic tools on this app? Basically, you know, I think the study of philosophy is extremely important, you know, for myself personally, but also in terms of like trying to course correct at least the country, whether that's a ridiculous, you know, idea or really it's true, who knows. But does anyone, I'm going to invite some people up. Go ahead, Mike. Here, I'm going to give you your Steve Appel Fresh Five. Hello, Ishmael.
Luke.
Boo!
Book.
Can you read us a book?
I'm rolling a joint.
Oh, fabulous. Well, I have just a little bit of beer left, and I can smoke some more weed and read a little more, but I will have to depart soon. And do you know why?
Book.
Because I'm going to the gym, which is the gymnasium. And in the gymnasium, you know, back in the day, they didn't just lift weights and run and stretch. They actually read books in the gym, because that's what a gymnasium is. It's like a college. Otherwise known as a collegium. And in collegiums, they studied book. You know, Mike, I bought a bunch of books on picture theory, video theory, color theory, production, like, you know, really high-end mathematical books on the science of photography, of cinematography. And they're so complicated, you know, I just glanced over them, but I know how complicated they are, and I know you know a lot. But there's a lot about philosophy or God that you may not know about. And if you knew more about God, you might have a more chill disposition. You might be more happy. You might be more loving. You might be more supple, more suggestive, more flexible. That's jujitsu. That's why life, some people call it an eternal dance. Some people call it an eternal jujitsu, which is the divine name, Israel. He who wrestles with, you know, God. That is the philosopher. That is what Ishmael is. That's what Jacob is. That's what Moses is. That's what Jesus is. You know, that's what you want to be. But if you don't read the books, you can't really do the linguistic jujitsu. And also you may, you know, I'm just saying that the big formula in life is, how do I maintain perpetual happiness? Yes, I may be smoking and drinking and reading philosophy. That's not sustainable. But that's why I've created recordings. So when I'm sober, I can go back and listen to myself reading good things, as opposed to listening to a lot of useless discourse. And our good friend of the show, El Normo, is here. I pray to Hashem he will bless us with a bracha and maybe a Torah reading.
Oh, he's there.
El Normo, you know, is a critic, but I think maybe, hopefully, he gets me. He's a
So what did you do? You made a fake account with Diego's name?
Well, I Was Love, and him and Princessia, his neo-Nazi Arab slut bride, they kept putting up pictures of Anne Frank, and eventually I just snapped and I said, okay, I'm gonna nuke this account and I'm gonna become Roger Mayhem again, and just put Roger Mayhem and change my name to Roger Mayhem. But then I thought to myself, no, that would be a waste. I've already done that. Why don't I go after somebody who I really hate? And I thought to myself, Diego. So now I'm Diego. I kept telling you, Eleanor, how do we incorporate Clown House into some type of a television show? I think the Yellow Canary Coal Mine show of exposing online Jew hate would be a pretty popular show because A, we would be educating people about how stupid they are, and B, we would be showing them as the hypocrite racists that everyone else is. We have to do this. We could Larry David our way out of a very dangerous predicament.
Norman,
Yeah.
I have something to say. I have something to tell you.
Yeah.
Everything in flux, Norman.
Yeah.
And you too will alter in the world and perish, and the world as well.
Everything.
Leave other people's mistakes where they lie.
Everything.
When we cease from activity or follow thought to its conclusion, it's a kind of death, and it doesn't harm us. Think about
The plural of fluck?
I flucked your mother. But listen, think about your life, childhood.
Wait, is that a yes or a no? Is fluck the plural of fluck?
Think about your life, Norman. Childhood, boyhood, youth, old
What do you read
age,
from?
old
What do
age,
you read
where you are now. The meditations, Marcus Aurelius. Think about your life, childhood, boyhood, youth, old age. Every transformation, a kind of dying. Was that so terrible? Think about life with your grandfather, your mother.
Well, how much do I have to pay to get you to stop? I don't hate Marcus Aurelius, but I don't love being read to. So, as much as you hate this guy, you shouldn't troll him, I think.
Book.
Hang on, I'm doing a transaction online for my girlfriend. Don't hang.
Are you buying her a book?
Well, this is what girls do. They buy stuff and then they sell it. They get obsessed with this, so I'm helping my girlfriend sell her pocketbooks because she couldn't figure it out. So I'll catch up later.
El Normo, hold on a second. Mike Moon said earlier, that a very wise man once said that there's not a speck of dust out of place in the whole universe. So the reason why Ishmael and I have Tanya is because the book points out that we are an extension of the divine. And so my point is that gives you a tremendous source of joy. And so, my criticism of Mike, particularly Mike Moon, is that when you get so agitated, Mike, and you're hyper-verbalizing or just getting angry, that diminishes and ruins that sense of joy or spaciousness. Well, my point is, Mike, there's no reason to get angry. Life is joy. It's not like to me, you sound anger and agitated, and it's to your detriment. You should really be super positive and happy. And so whatever the outcome of the election is or was, none of that matters. It's all divine, but the point is, the better man won.
Okay, now I'm having a conversation about Christian Dior handbags. Please save me. Don't troll Roger. Don't troll Diego. That's my advice.
Oh, Norma, you give out a lot of advice. You should take your own advice and go to the gym. Study
I do go
study
to the gym.
Torah.
I was in the gym 2 nights ago swimming, and I don't give out a lot of advice.
You do. You come in here and you tell me all the times. I'll do this, do that, do it. You don't help me at all. You don't help me produce anything significant. But,
Well, I give fantastic comment. I'm like one of the top content providers on the friggin' thing.
Well, I really like what you have to say, but I think what I'm doing, is not necessary.
Tanya. Who else is going to talk Tanya besides Rabbi Ronnie Fine?
Well, I
Why
don't.
don't you convert?
Well, I did go to a conversion class in not Brentwood, in
You're a good candidate.
well, I was doing the conversion, but I couldn't take it anymore because it was for mixed couples, and the women kept complaining about their future mother-in-laws nonstop, and I was like, oh, another fucking month of this? I can't take it. No, I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
Who was the rabbi over there where you are?
Well, I got Orthodox friends. I can do it if I want to do it, but I'm not,
Well, not just friends. Just go to Chabad. Is it true that you're friends with what's his name, Mark? I guess you lost.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't believe it. I was so upset. I talked to him. He was so positive. I was like, wow. In my third eye, I saw him winning. But
Winning.
yeah. Anyways, he made a big impact, and he could definitely. Anyways, he ran a great campaign. Honestly, he really did.
I agree. All right. Don't troll the good guys, and I'll talk to you later. And thank you. And I like the Tanya. Goodbye.
Don't troll the good guys. How do we know who the good guys are, though? That's what I'm saying. Good guys study Tanya.
Book.
Okay, this is called Distracting Thoughts number 28. Evil thoughts can even arise during study and prayer. And if they do, you should ignore them entirely and avert your mind from them immediately. Do not try to examine these thoughts, for that is a task for the righteous, in whom evil finds no root. But the evil you experience is rooted in your own selfishness. Do not be dejected because of this. Rather, redouble your efforts to concentrate your mind, and in this way fill yourself with joy and gladness, realizing that distractions arise because your prayer and study are approaching selfishness, not selflessness. Oh, it does say selflessness. Selflessness. But the first one was selfishness. Okay, so when distractions arise, ignore them and answer not fools according to their folly, lest you too become a fool. This is the final 4 verses. What if you cannot ignore them? Then humble yourself before God and ask God to rescue you from these turbulent waters, which is your mind, really. This is the subnote. It is one thing to be distracted by negative thoughts during regular moments of the day, but what if they occur during times specifically devoted to spiritual practice? Does this mean that you are failing in your practice? Not all. In fact, it means just the opposite. Our sages taught, the greater the person, the greater the Yetzer Hara, evil inclination. Talmud Sukkah 52a. That is the Yetzer Hatov, good inclination, is always balanced by the Yetzer Hara, and you cannot escape from one to the other. This is why few sinners are beyond redemption, and few saints are beyond temptation. The challenge is not to eliminate the negative thinking, but to deal with it effectively. For the righteous, the best way to deal with such thoughts is to examine them thoroughly, and in so doing to discover that they, too, are part of the divine non-duality, shlemut. For the in-betweener, however, such examination may result in becoming obsessed with such thoughts. Hence, the best way for the in-betweener to deal with the negative thoughts is to let them go. Do not feed them either by resisting them or by entertaining them. If they come, let them go. Yet there may be times when you cannot ignore the madness in your mind. Even then, the thoughts can be useful, for they remind you of your limitations and humble you to the point where all you can do is cry out to God. And that act of complete humbling is often enough to awaken you to your true nature as a manifestation of God. Ding! Now you get it, Mike? So I got a picture of the Buddha over my toilet. It says, let it go. Those are your thoughts, your words. You know, I'm not saying it's difficult to do, but I mean, reading this stuff is much easier than talking, opinion making, and reading this type of material helps you let go of your thoughts because it's a hypnosis. All communication is hypnosis.
I think Mike should get a Trump Buddha. Have you seen the Trump Buddha ceramic statues?
No.
Very powerful. Yeah, I just ordered one. I'll pray to him every day.
I'm gonna go on eBay and get one too. Oh my god, this is exciting. Should we come up with a Trump Buddha mantra right now? Om Mani Trump Buddha. Om Mani Ham. Or Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Trump Ham. Om Mani Trump Ham. Om Mani Trump Ham.
Oh, money, Trump. All-time highs.
we are all under watch. As soon as if the establishment or the media, everybody coerced to actually get Trump in there, that means the most powerful Trump hypnosis is yet to come, Mike. So prepare, shelter yourself, because the Trump hypnosis only is going to get amplified. And you know what that's like. 4 years of it, just wait. This time his hypnosis will be so powerful, people will literally put their stuff in wagons with donkeys and just start walking back to the South. He doesn't even need to hire people.
DTR for Trump Buddha.
I'm not gonna lie, I think the reason Trump won was because of you, Coach Love. The hypnosis was strong, man. The support was there. The energy that you radiate is immense. You know?
Thanks, Abdul. Love the PTR. Can you maybe put the Diddy bull jumping PTR back up? Because that one is fucking hilarious.
Bro, that shit is so funny.
So many people don't know this, but P. Diddy is actually a bull jumper. I don't know if anybody knows this. It's on his YouTube channel. You gotta admit, like, it's pretty fucking ballsy to run face first into a fucking bull and then dive over it and have any expectation of survival. Like, that is like his, demonic moment, you might say, like, of him thinking that, like, he's like Lucifer. Mike, former speaker, Lucifer, you don't understand what he's doing. He is LARPing. It's pretty crazy to come on here and LARP Lucifer and then go, and I've done it because I didn't do a Lucifer profile, but I did a God profile on here. But to sit here and have people call you Lucifer all day long, it conditions you. He's a psychotic neurotic who chooses to go with a dog shit name. He's a loser. He's a schmuck. I mean, I hate to be hard on him, but if you're going to come on here 50 hours a week and call yourself Lucifer, you might have a mental health problem. You might have a spiritual problem. You might have a psychological problem. You might have an intellectual problem. But either or, I say it's better to use positive names for neurolinguistic therapeutic purposes than, demonic names like Satan or Lucifer. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Ishmael likes to choose the name Ishmael. I don't know. He thinks he's a monkey. Abdul thinks he's Diddy. I don't know. And, you're a star. He thinks he's the Trump Buddha. But I think I'm the JDS Diego who didn't get out of high school. The Jews did it to me. They ruined my life. My wife left me because she was upset with my Jewish derangement syndrome. My oily skin, my dandruff. I don't want to go too hard on Diego, but, 50 hours a week of Jewish derangement syndrome. It's just eating me up inside. It's too much.
Look how powerful this bull jump is. Just look at that. Look at that ceremony.
Is that not a trip, you guys? Look at that shit. Is that not a trip? That's a real photo. It's on his YouTube. I think he did it in Barcelona.
Wait, he jumped over the bull?
Yeah, Diddy flew over a bull. It's real. It's on his YouTube channel. He actually dove over it, and then he lands, and he does a somersault on the dirt. It was like, whoa, wow. Motherfucker's a bullfly.
Anything that he wants, he has to get.
Anything I want, I have to have. And anything I want, I will get. Anything I want, I will have. And anything I want, I will get. Is that, like, I mean, let's not go there. Let's not go there. Mike, any comments, questions, thoughts, ideas, or opinions on my mass hypnosis experimentation?
Really? I'm good. You've won.
Welcome to the room, Purnell. Anything you want, you can have, and anything you want to get, you can get. Welcome.
Anything you want.
Think about it. Think about it.
What you think about that? What you think about that?
So Purnell, you're a big Trumper, and you shouted down a lot of these derangement syndrome people. I encourage you to click the link above. That's from Michael Scheuer, a former CIA employee. He outlines 12 major problems with the Democrat Party. I encourage you to read it, to know it. I'm sure you will agree with almost all of it. So I just want to play a quick clip. Here we go.
And or people who are recording this room right now and posting it live to YouTube, because those two things are like. Yes, if you could do that, look, I'm happy to do that. Why don't I make you a moderator and then you can do that, because I'm too fragile to do that. To focus on it.
All aboard!
All right.
Dr. James, the psychopath.
I have a job.
Watch this. Here comes the kick.
Great.
Here comes the kick. Bye, Dr. James. We got your ass again.
You want to talk later?
We got your ass again, Dr. James. Live in love, Dr. J. That's his Instagram. Live_in_love. Dr. J. Dr. James. Real human. Live in love. He's not a fascist.
Do you think that these Democrats are really the fascists and the Republicans are the libertarians?
Yes.
It's all inverse psychology. It's projection.
Everything that they want, they have to get.
I think that they are fascists on both sides. I think Liz Cheney is a fascist. I think what's his name? Mitt Romney is a fascist. I think Mitch McConnell has a little bit of fascism in him. There's a few Republicans, rhinos mostly. They're down for the fascists. They're down. They're really just Democrats pretending to be Republicans. But yeah, the Democrats are definitely fascists.
Well,
So people who are wholly American and embody the American spirit are automatically, inherently, and always anti-fascist. And anybody who criticizes America as a nation or as an identity is in danger of becoming a fascist.
I mean, censorship, or blocking, suspending, deleting. I mean, imagine if you can't criticize anything. The critic is what brings the truth out. That is the equilibrium to the communication paradigm. So we have to have a quality of communication. We have to have the ability to shitpost, to invert what people tell us. Because if like Mike, you said earlier, why can't we accept what people with credible authority have or appeal to authority? The problem is we still have to question the propaganda, the communication hypnosis.
Nikki Haley, based on what you just said, Nikki Haley is a fascist. She was one of the biggest voices for censorship, and I literally heard her say that people who are talking online need to be held accountable. So, yeah.
Mike Pompeo,
Democrats are fascists.
Mike Pompeo, John Bolton, I would say they're fascists too.
So the problem with fascism is Mussolini and Hitler. This is 2024. That's called history. They don't exist anymore. This is really an eternal now. And when we look at communication theory, you will see that projection or neurolinguistic programming, when somebody calls you a Nazi racist Hitler, they're actually describing themselves. I mean, maybe not exactly that way, but you see what I'm saying is it's always accuse them of doing what you're actually guilty of. And Kamala and all the projections she put out, I could play you clips from the Democratic National Committee right now about Project 2025. Do you know that this red hot, sexy, redheaded senator, the first thing she criticized Trump on was the fact that when he implements Project 2025, he is going to terminate intelligence officers in the United States government. That was her first concern. Why is that her first concern, you may ask? Because high-level intelligence operatives or CIA assets, the whole black book, the whole enchilada, the whole budget, all of it, they used it against Trump for 4 years. I mean, even leading up to the election. The whole point is that our government has meddled in our government, that we have employees at major agencies that need to be terminated. And that was her complaint, that if he got into power, he was going to fire these people. And guess what? He's in power now. And if he stays alive, it may be like The Apprentice. It could be a very positive experience cathartically for our country because, in my opinion, from JFK to 9/11 to COVID-19, those are connected events. Those are three major events in this country that should be thoroughly analyzed and understood for the lies and propaganda that it was. But now we have this open telephone game where, we can neurally network and mass communicate with each other. Our opinions, our truths, and our observations. 2 planes didn't bring down 3 skyscrapers, and Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates didn't give you a laxative.
You will take the boosters. You will enjoy it. Yo, Coach Love, did you get your software upgrade yet? With the new boosters?
Anyways, the election is over. My clubhouse career is coming to an end. I'm moving on to bigger and better things at Mossad. And the point is that Diego's house his door's about to get kicked in and his shit's about to get pushed in. And he's justice. Is it justice? Is it justice? I'm being facetious, of course. I wouldn't report Diego to the FBI. I wouldn't dare call the FBI and waste their time with such a low IQ piece of shit like him. If they're listening to this app and they want to do something about it, well, it's on them.
So you didn't call the FBI?
Of course I didn't call the FBI. This is a troll. Why would I waste my time with somebody with dandruff?
Okay, well, at least send him a shampoo that is anti-dandruff.
Let me play for you this world-famous dandruff commercial. It's from 1967. What's the most amazing thing about it is it's pure neurolinguistic programming. Just listen to this. It's Head and Shoulders.
Alive, out from under the dandruff problem. Your hair will be clean, really clean, because Head and Shoulders is the most effective dandruff shampoo you can buy. And Head and Shoulders does it in a happy way. Happy? You've never had it so happy till you used Head and Shoulders, the shampoo that has everything. Effective dandruff control with just regular shampooing, and the clean, fresh, alive feeling you've always wanted. Head and Shoulders gives you the look you've always looked for. Happy hair, happy hair, happy, 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 happy hair. Happy hair? Sure, with Head and Shoulders. alive out from under the dandruff problem. Your hair will be clean, really clean, because Head & Shoulders is the most effective dandruff shampoo you can buy. And Head & Shoulders does it in a happy way. Happy? You've never had it so happy till you've used Head & Shoulders, the shampoo that has everything. Effective dandruff control with just regular shampooing, and the clean, fresh, alive feeling you've always wanted. Head & Shoulders gives you the look you've always looked for. Happy hair, happy hair, happy, 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 happy hair. Happy hair? Sure, with Head & Shoulders, the one dandruff shampoo that really works.
A black ass. Crack was trying to kill me for that shit. But nigga, you still short. I know you breathtaking, but I will survive in this motherfucker. That's the juice you say for black ass. Crack was trying
Now,
to kill me
Head
for
&
that shit.
Shoulders gives
So
you
I was
happy
hiding
hair,
in this deal
clean,
thanks to the
fresh,
Israelites.
alive, out from under the dandruff problem. Your hair will be clean, really clean, because Head & Shoulders is the most effective dandruff shampoo you can buy.